We've heard a lot on women in leadership today. Maybe I'll also tell you a little story, giving you a background of perhaps the change in thinking over the years in terms of women's participation, engagement with society, with businesses, and leadership. So I'll start by telling you a little bit of my background, hopefully not too long. I grew up as an Air Force station kid. My dad was station commander in Baroda, and before that he was in many places, and we moved around with him. And I grew up with 4 brothers. There were places in stations where we would go where we had nobody else for company, so we would need to entertain ourselves. So we made our own Olympics, and we would do things like that to keep ourselves entertained. And even when I grew up, I never thought of myself as being different in any way from any of my brothers. I also, as I grew up, started to rebel when my mother asked me to help her in the kitchen, because I said, if they don't do it, why do I need to do it? So I continued to rebel till the point when my mother fell ill and had to be operated when I was in the 11th standard. And there was nothing else to be done but for me to get to the kitchen, which I hated, and I burnt the dal and started crying, and my brother said, let's go out and have dinner. So there's a reason I'm telling you this story. I kind of accepted then that if nobody else does it, let me do it. So I went ahead and learned, and I used to help my mother much more, in an amiable mood after that. There were things that happened as we grew up. For some strange reason, I used to be the person who used to fix things in the house. So when it came to an education, the choice was what would you do? Would you take medicine? Would you take engineering? Would you take physiotherapy? Would you take economics? Would you take arts? And frankly, at that time, we didn't really have a clear idea of what we wanted to do. So honestly, I went with what my brother said, which is do engineering. So I got into engineering, so I said, why not? So I did electrical engineering. And we were, as Bhavna said, we were just 10 girls in, about 150 boys in those days. This was in '84, and it was an interesting experience. We were always special in a very large college with many boys. And the good thing was, I think, we never felt any different. It's just that it was a new area, and those days in IT we had things like punch cards where we had to submit to a faculty for us to even get a program to run. It was extremely frustrating because you had to wait for days to get an output out. In the 4th year, when I did my final year, the first mini computer was installed in our faculty, and it was something that I took up naturally as my elective subject, computers applied to power systems. And I found it extremely exciting to write a program and get something out which worked, which did something. And that was the start of my journey of wanting to be in IT. So though I did electrical engineering and I got my first job offer from GB, I frankly did not want to go to Palanpur or somewhere where I was supposed to be posted. So I took up my first job in an IT company called Anjalim Enterprises in Baroda. So first 5 years of my career were in Baroda in an IT field, and I'm very proud to be part of, that part of the journey in Baroda. The first was Anjalim, followed by Himalaya Machineries, where we made CNC software, and in those days it seemed like rocket science. I had some very interesting teams where we learned a lot of things. I learned what hardware meant and how you could actually run a complete computer out of a simple thing like a program, which seemed like magic. And subsequently, I realized I'm not able to grow the way I would like to, or I didn't find anything interesting. I'm just doing the same thing. So I looked for opportunities outside, and I heard about Tata Consultancy Services. A very close friend of mine, who's today my husband, actually advised me of this company, and I got in. There was a walk-in interview in Ahmedabad, and we just went and gave an interview. My then sister-in-law and I went and we gave an interview, and we both got a job offer. I had to go to Bombay, and my mother was horrified. How will you go to Bombay? How will you stay there? But I was determined. I told her, now I'm old enough. I'm in my 20s. I certainly can look after myself. Please don't worry about me, and I'm going to do this. And I was determined to do something different. I thought this company would give me exposure. I went to Bombay, I remember, with a suitcase in my hand, trying to find a place to stay. And I found a working women's hostel, and I think God was with me because I got admission immediately. So with that same suitcase in hand and an admission in a hostel, I came back and told my mom, this is it, I'm going. And it was an amazing experience to walk down from Churchgate to Nariman Point with hundreds of people walking along that same path, and to feel like you're part of a working community of this country. And it was an extremely proud moment for me. And it was also a very interesting journey in the last 20 years which I've had in TCS. And the reason I've continued to be in this company has been the amazing range of experiences which I've been able to have in this company. And I'm really proud to be part of the Tata Group for multiple reasons. It is about their value system. The first thing that strikes me is their value system. Initially, it was a piece of paper which you signed, which is called the Tata Code of Conduct. But over the years, I've seen that we've lived it. We've lived and seen examples of how it is lived day to day. And those are not easy decisions to live those values, but I've seen it lived. In terms of opportunity, the kind of roles I played in this organization, I started with, a programmer. I was put with a simple training, and initially I didn't understand. Nobody told you what to do. You had to kind of find your own space. So I went and asked that I need this training. I was immediately put on the training. 5 days later, I was in a bank, completely alone, working on software which ran the bank. And I was programmer, I was developer. We have multiple IT roles which today are separate specialist roles, but I was everything in one. And there was a time along that banking journey where one day a program didn't work and the quarterly interest of everybody, people like you, was going wrong. So I had to correct it. So what did I do? I told them, you please lock me in the bank. I stayed whole night. I rewrote the entire program. And in the morning when I ran the whole the quarterly interest, it was correct. I called my bosses in Bombay and told them this is what I'm going to do, and they gave me moral support and they told me go ahead. The bankers supported me. That was Dana Bank, I still remember, in Baroda. I had got married somewhere along that journey. I was moved to Baroda from Bombay and on request, and the support that I got, and I didn't think it was a big deal. I said, thank God I got the program right. But somebody wrote to my CEO then, Mr. Kohli, who frankly to me is the father of IT in India, and he wrote a letter, a beautiful letter which I always cherish, because he believed in excellence and he thought this was one form of excellence. And he used to set the bar up there, and he used to make sure all of us go beyond that. So to cut a long story short, in my career I've played different roles, I had different experiences. I had to go abroad for 1 year. My husband was in Baroda, and I told him I think this is a good opportunity and this is a typical growth path, so should I take it? And he supported me fully. So he stayed here and I was there in 1 year, and you can imagine what our telephone bills were like. But somewhere around that journey, that 1 year which I stayed abroad, I think it taught me a lot about myself. I learned to appreciate myself. Till then, I was a daughter, a sister, a wife, a daughter-in-law, a friend. I had to find myself. And I think staying alone is a fantastic experience because you get to know about yourself, and you get to know and you get to actually love yourself. And I think that's a very important part of what women need to do to be, to be good human beings. To be leaders is the second part. So I think that was one thing which I cherish. I cherish it for the global experience, the wide vistas which opened up to me in terms of understanding cultures, businesses, different things. And while we were in Baroda, before I went there, I think my brother-in-law, who's a doctor, actually, was part of a theatre group company. I have Iftikhar here, who was also part of this group, where we had our own, inspired by the Shakespeare Society, which really inspired us to do things like theatre and different things. And the reason why I emphasize that experience is because it broadened my mind. It opened it to different outlooks. If you're doing an Arthur Miller play of an American author and it's still relevant to you as an Indian in India, I think that is an amazing thing. So I think it's very important for us to open our minds to different things. Diversity, not just in terms of gender diversity, in terms of all kinds of diversity, is very important for us to grow as human beings and to be who we are. So exposure of different things in the US is the first time I had a gay friend in office. I never understood. I used to think gay means something bad. But my colleague, who was a British national, was a very nice human being. So what if his choice was gay, right? So that's another kind of learning, and all because of the experiences the company has given me, I learned that. And then I came back to Baroda, I took a transfer to Ahmedabad, and every day I would travel by a train to Ahmedabad. For 7 years I did that. Somewhere along the journey I had my daughter, and there was this big question, how do I continue? I stood on streets and tried to find maids, and I told my husband I have to go back to work after the 6 months. And he supported me, and we got a maid, and I had my mother-in-law supporting me. And so the ecosystem, if you believe you want to do something, I think there are ways and solutions each of us will have to find and can find to do that, to continue with what moves you. And unless you do what you want to be, you will not help anybody else in your relationship if you are not happy with what you want to do. And that's why it's very important for you to do that. And I think, we just heard some of the speakers mention, right? Ms. Bansal mentioned it, that, it's okay when you're at work to not worry about your family. Please don't feel guilty about it. There's nothing wrong with you doing your job. There's nothing wrong with being a mother and not worrying about your work when you're at home. Because you are who you are, right? And you are a contributor, whether it's in the home or at work or with friends. Be yourself and be proud to be yourself. There are times when you will feel bad. There was a time when my 1.5-year-old daughter had to be left for 2 months while I was in Taiwan on an assignment. And I came back and she had had an asthmatic attack and she was weak and thin, and I felt my heart sink and I thought I should quit my job. But I didn't. Because I thought, maybe this is a period in time, but I would get over it. And I had support. My mother-in-law was there. My husband was there. So yes, there are some right choices I made, like marrying the right guy perhaps. But there are multiple ways. I think, कायनात आपकी मदद करता है. अगर आप चाहें तो पूरी कायनात आपकी जरूर मदद करेगा. To borrow from Paulo Coelho. But I believe that very truly, because that's the experience I've seen. Every time I went, there was something to help me. Does it mean that it's all an easy journey? Well, no, it's not. I've had very difficult experiences of going in lonely places in the US, trying to find a hotel on my own, trying to work late at night in unknown offices, trying to come back in riots when there's, things were burning. We were alone in trains. I have walked around, lonely streets post-riots. But it's always been a courage of conviction and a belief in God, whoever that God is. The belief in the sense of belief in oneself is very, very important, the first thing. And, to keep doing things. And I think, while I'm telling you this story, what are the lessons I've learned? I learned that it's important to be informed. Because earlier I didn't have that ambition, but as I grew in my career, I realized that most women don't consider it important to be informed. So we don't want to know what's in the paper in terms of a business. An Economic Times was read by my brothers but not by me. So today I'm the first to read the Economic Times. It doesn't mean everybody needs to do that. What I'm just saying is, for me to succeed in my business, it's necessary for me to be informed about what happens in the business world, what happens everywhere. So for each one of us to be aware, to be important perspective. I took the choice of going abroad 1 year at the risk of, leaving my husband behind. What will they do? All that kind of stuff. But that was an important choice for me to be mobile. And I think each one of us, whether we are a man or woman, we should be, if we want to be professionals, if we want to work, we should be willing to be mobile, right? So I went every day in that train for 7 years because that was a choice I made. Let my husband be stable here, let my family be stable here, and manage that. Now it's a choice. Maybe I need not have taken the choice. Maybe I could have dropped it and done something else. But that is a choice because I felt I wanted to work with the best company and I wanted to continue to work with that. And today, even HR in our organization, I think Neetu will talk something about that, has evolved in our organization. Why has it evolved? Because people like us are there and who are part of the masses who really contribute to what policies are made and how they are made. And for example, we were not even allowed to go to a place if, suppose I had a spouse in TCS. If he was posted somewhere, I couldn't go there with him. And they used to ask you, are you carrying before you go abroad? And I thought that was an extremely insensitive question, and I said, I will not answer that. That's not your problem. And today, we say, okay, your husband is there, can we post you there? So we have turned along, and I think I'm proud of this organization because we learn from the issues that our people face. We have evolving policies. Today I'm part of a network called Diversity and Women's Network in my organization, where it's my job to champion other women to continue working after that 30% quote which Professor Singh talked about. How do we make sure that 30% stays at 30% and not at 8% that it is today? Each one of you in this room, please make a choice. It is your choice. It is not about men and women, it is about your choice. And I think the proudest moment I had as a result of this Diversity in Women's Network was when one girl wrote to me and she said, ma'am, because of you, after I had my child, I came back to work. Otherwise, I had plans to quit. So that is my proudest moment. If I can build a ladder for 5 more women to come behind me, I will be very happy. I would have done my job. Right? So I think we as people, as men and women, there is a lot of capability and potential if we have all our women also contributing to society. It doesn't mean that we should ignore family, or we should not have relationships, or we should not, have children. I think it can be done. Everything can be done. There will be challenges, but if you take them up, and organizations will evolve, societies will evolve, but you need to take that first step and go there and work what you want to do. Follow your heart. That's all I needed to say. Thank you.